Hello everybody, Disciple here with Overwatch Curios. So we've been scouring the forums and now here we are again with another round of awesome future changes to Overwatch that have been confirmed by the development team, aimed to make the game even more high quality and fun than it was before. Each one of these has been mentioned and confirmed by the devs as being in the pipeline and will be coming to Overwatch within the coming weeks or months. Blizzard has been keeping a steady pace on making pretty excellent changes to the game to bring balance, interesting events, cosmetics, and more heroes to the roster, and judging by this list, they don't seem to be ready to stop anytime soon. Anyway, here we go. Players have been asking for a way to export and save their highlights since the feature was announced, and Jeff Kaplan has said on many occasions that it's definitely something they want to see in the game. Before it was a soon TM kind of thing like Blizzard loves to do, but now we have definitive confirmation that saving and exporting highlights is a feature aimed to hit the game sometime this summer. Jeff talks about it in a forum post saying, "This is the current focus of the feature team, which is one of the smaller development strike teams on the Overwatch team. The team is working extremely hard on this and has been for months. Expect more details early this summer." I'm definitely excited to hear a lot more about that, and I've actually made a video about replays and the significance of bringing out more functionality to the game here, so it's definitely going to help improve the game quite a bit, and I advise you guys to check that out if you're a little unsure on how exactly this is going to help. Now, we've all got a pretty healthy amount of crosshair options, including multiple color and shape choices. However, some players have been showing examples of the kinds of crosshairs from other FPS games that aren't quite present in Overwatch yet. Jeff seems totally down to add in new crosshairs to give the community a better variety, saying, "This seems pretty straightforward, we'll see if we can get this done." Now, while this might seem like a trivial or simple thing, when you're used to playing a certain way in other games with certain features, and then those features aren't present in other games like these new crosshairs, it can be really impactful on how you play. And this is another example of how the dev team constantly has the community and accessibility in mind, and how they're constantly trying to make the game better in every way so that new players might be a little bit more interested to join, and that existing players can feel a little bit better while they're playing as well. Now, subtitles are kind of one of those things that go unnoticed until you need them or see them somewhere, and we first saw them in Overwatch in the in-game tutorial, and also more recently in the Uprising event. Now, it's actually a really big deal in localization and translation for a game that's sold worldwide in many different countries with many different dialects. It takes a ton of work from not just the team that initially creates the subtitles, but for every single team that needs to translate them and put them at the right places, at the right timings, and with the right meanings. However, subtitles are becoming a bigger focus for the team, with Kaplan stating, "Uprising is the first event to support subtitles. We now have some of the underlying tech and systems in place to proliferate subtitle support to other parts of the game. The team is very passionate about adding subtitle support." Now, we can probably expect to see more subtitles and subtitle options in the future as the tech is available now, and the drive to make subtitles was always there, but now it's a lot more of a possibility. And it'd be really interesting to see subtitle support in places even like a regular game, where someone who's deaf or hard of hearing can't really hear when an ultimate gets called out or when another key ability happens, and they really just have to see it to know that it happened. And so if we did have some sort of subtitle support for key abilities, like a Pharah ulting or even a Reaper doing his repositioning, then that could definitely help open up the game to a lot of people who can really play the game in most of its entirety and just really need those sounds to be able to identify some of the key abilities. Now, of course, they still probably wouldn't be able to hear footsteps and things like that since they can't add subtitles for everything, but for some of the bigger and more impactful abilities, I would really love to see this happen in the future, since I really want Overwatch to be playable by everyone without giving too much advantage to people who don't have any disability and still turn on these options. Now, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but a lot of players who really enjoy the arcade can't help but feel like the mode is a bit of an afterthought following on the heels of quick play and competitive seasons, even though it is a fully fleshed out game mode selection interface with a ton of potential fun to be had. Now, to help the mode stand out and to recognize players for playing in the arcade, Blizzard is adding in stats for the arcade as a whole, as well as total stats that players can see their complete career on just one screen. The post reads, "We would like to add arcade stats as well as a total stats section to the career profile. Now, this is a pretty small addition, but it's great for those of us who love the numbers, although we're not sure how exactly this change is going to take place. I definitely want to be able to see how much I've played of any one individual hero without having to sort through every single selection of quick play and competitive season 1, 2, and so on. And so seeing all of that just at a glance is definitely going to help me see, just how much I love Zarya, as well as just helping people who play mostly in the arcade or in modes that aren't necessarily quick play or competitive feel like what they played still mattered and it still had an impact on their overall profile. I know that when I do viewer games with you guys and we make 6 versus 6 custom games, I would really like that to be able to count towards our total stats, because although I don't have a lot of experience on offensive characters like Tracer in quick play and competitive, I've actually been starting to play them quite a bit when I do these fun custom games, and it'd be fun to be able to see that when you first glance at my profile. Now, in response to players wanting to play seasonal events casually in the arcade, Jeff Kaplan has stated, "We might someday make seasonal events available when the events aren't running, but for now it's not a priority due to the technical challenge. We also do like keeping the events rare and special." I know people hate when I say that. Now this one may be a bit on the horizon or perhaps not come at all, but there are a few things we can look at for this. First, the ability to earn those achievements that are really difficult to get or were difficult at the time but that you can't get now could really help round out your collection, especially for those achievement hunters who weren't playing when we first got Junkenstein's Revenge or something like that. Now the events themselves are also a ton of fun, and it feels like a bit of a tragedy that something like Junkenstein's Revenge, which was so well fleshed out and so much fun to play in, and also took a lot of time and development to create, just isn't even around in the game anymore, and no one else gets the chance to experience that. So it's definitely something that I would love to see at least come up in a casual rotation every once in a while, so that players who weren't playing last Halloween could still get a chance to experience that. Now, we can only hope for this one, as Jeff may just have his way and keep these events locked down to their respective times of the year, but he did say that it could be possible in the future and that it is something they're looking into, so we can hope. Now, one thing that Overwatch is probably safe constantly releasing are heroes, since pretty much everyone always wants a new hero. Even if you hate the hero that they just released or that they're just starting to tease, having a new entity in the game world can change everything and is generally a good thing for shaking up the meta and keeping the game fresh and interesting. In a recent interview with GameSpot, Kaplan talked in length about their plans to only have 3 or 4 heroes a year produced and live for Overwatch. Now, if you compare this to other games with constant hero releases, this number might seem really small, since you have Heroes of the Storm making a new hero every 6 weeks, and there was a time when League of Legends had a new hero every single 2 weeks. However, it does change up the Overwatch landscape quite a bit more than a MOBA with 100 heroes in it, and it also means that they get to spend a lot more time developing these heroes and making sure they fit solidly in not only the story, but also in the game as a whole. Each Overwatch hero needs to be developed in their lore, art direction, with cosmetics, and even new interactions with other heroes that are all created from scratch. This takes a lot of time and focus to get right, so it's really not that big of a surprise that the team wants to take their time and deliver an amazing set of heroes, even if that number is a bit small. Kaplan says in the article, "One of the factors is our time and attention. The more heroes we add, the less attention we're giving to the existing 24 heroes that are already out there. Then also, I think there's something that's really valuable in player affinity for a hero. That has to do with how the hero looks, the backstory, their relationships with other heroes in the game, and I feel like the more heroes we add, the less we can invest in each hero that already exists." So, Blizzard is taking a quality over quantity approach to heroes, and since we've already got Orisa this year, seems like we're only going to be seeing 2, possibly 3 more in 2017. I'm curious who you guys think is the best hero that's been released since the original roster, and that could be anything like Mei, Genji, Diva, Orisa, Sombra, or Ana. And I'm also curious who you guys think is going to be the next hero. I know a lot of people are talking about Doomfist, but I'm not personally convinced, but I'd like to know who you guys think could be a good hero for the roster, and if you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. Anyway, that's going to be it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.